Astrology channel. I'm your host Prasad Mahazani. Help you raise your vibrations and become your true self with the help of Vedic astrology. In last video, we discussed about the sixth lord through the houses. In this video, we are going to talk about seventh lord through the houses. What is the seventh house? Seventh house is the house of love, romance. It is more about the fifth house, but seventh house is about the marriage, is about the partnership, is about destinations. Remember, the first house is the beginning, is the sunrise, okay? And on the seventh house, it is the sunset. That's why it is also the house of endings. It is also the house of the travel, and it is also the house of business negotiations. Exchange can also be seen with the seventh house. Seventh house is also about the other people in your life, and it is not only related to the marriage, but it is also about the business partnership. First house is yourself, seventh house is the other self. It is the exact opposite of the first house. Okay, now what happens? What is the significance of the seventh house? Whenever we are talking about the relationship, seventh house plays an important role. Okay, I often get questions about marriage. Seventh house is the house of relationship and marriage relationship, especially. Okay, seventh house, the planets placed in the seventh house, planets aspecting the seventh house, planets conjunct with the seventh lord, planets conjunct and aspect the seventh house, seventh lord, all becomes important. Okay, and you also have to check the seventh lord from the moon as well. Whenever we say the seventh house is so important because seventh house is fourth from the fourth. Okay, and 10th from the 10th. So seventh house becomes extremely important, guys. And if you are getting value from this video, please hit the like button. Okay, so let's talk about the seventh lord through all the houses. Now, seventh lord in the first house. Okay, seventh house is exactly opposite to the first house. So when the seventh lord is into the first house, it shows that these people are dependent upon other people. Now the lord of the seventh house is getting into the first house. The lord of the other people is coming into the self, into your personality. Now you seek the validation from the other people, and it also impacts your personal strength. Your uh, personal strength, that is personality, is impacted by the other people. You value other people's opinion. Okay, so you have to stand for who you are and not just rely upon other people. I also see this as a placement which is good for a relationship as well. Why? Because now the lot of the relationship is in your personality, so you value other person, so you you appreciate and are grateful about the other person in your life. But when it goes to the extreme or to beyond certain limit, uh, it becomes like you seek that validation. But otherwise, it's a good placement to have for the seventh lord. Next is seventh lord into the second house. When the second seventh lord is into the second house, what it shows is it makes a person loving, because now the lot of the relationship is going into the house of family, the house of things which you value, about the resources, tangible resources. All these things can be seen with the second house. Now the lord of the relationship, the lord of the marriage is going into this house. Both of these houses are family houses in a way. Seventh house is also about the business and exchange, but it is marriage and relationship. So in a way, it is also a family house. Seventh house is, as we discussed earlier in this video, it is fourth from the fourth and the 10th from the 10th. So seventh house is a mix of relationship as well as the business and exchange. And is about marriage partner as well as it is about the public life of the person, because it is 10th from the 10th. 10th house is the ultimate house of work. Now it is into 10th from the 10th. Next is when the second lord goes into the seventh lord goes into the second house, it shows stability in a relationship. It brings in a kind of a stability. Why? Because the second house is fixed. Do you remember the signs 2, 5, 8, and 11 are the fixed signs, are the fixed houses. So the lord of the relationship is going into the stable house. So these people have stable relationship. These people are steadfast and are always into committed relationships. Okay. Yes. Next, seventh lord going into the third house. Seventh lord going into the third house. What it shows is it makes person. See, now it is going ninth place away from the seventh house, and third house is the house of self effort. So these people are invested into their relationship. Okay, these people take effort in their relationship. These people are more involved through their self effort into the relationship. Okay, but on the other side, the partner of these people might feel that these people are not invested, and to the point that they might feel that these people, the person with the seventh lord in the ninth house, is selfish. Okay, which you are not, of course, because you're taking effort. So what you have to do is you have to take an effort to confirm your partner about your investment in a relationship. And when I say investment, it is about time, it is about caring, it is about concerned about the other person, and also about being grateful about the other person. Third house is also the house of communication. So this person, the seventh lord into the third house, makes person take an effort for the communication to improve their relationship. But in a way, it is a good placement to have, because it is ninth places trying to the seventh house. It is into the same element. Seventh house is a Kama Trikon house. Third house is also the Kama Trikon house. Okay, so yes, next, seventh lord into the fourth house. What is the fourth house? Fourth house is about your emotional stability. Fourth house is about your happiness. Fourth house is the core of the water element and a moksha trikona. Fourth house is your private life. Fourth house is about, you know, your mother, as well as motherly love and all your emotions. Now, seventh house is fourth from the fourth. Now the Bhavat Bhavam of the fourth house is seventh house, and now the Lord of the seventh house is going into the fourth house. Okay, so what it shows is, it shows you guys have happy relationships. Other person will feel happy to be connected with you, to have you in their life. Okay, you will be happy in relationships. A relationship will be a strength in your life. Why? Because you get that emotional foundation, you get that emotional support from your partner. And both of these are the Kendra houses. Kendra houses are the foundation of your chart. Guys, if you're getting value from this video, don't forget to hit like. And when the seventh lord is connected with the fourth house, what it shows is it makes the person emotionally involved as well as sorted in the relationship. Now these people have the clarity in the relationship because they don't have that emotional blockages, and going uh, there are less ups and downs in the relationship. Because fourth house, why let me tell you why fourth house is the foundation. Why fourth house is the foundation? Because if you look at in the sky, 10th house is the zenith. That is the area right above your head. That's where you see the sun in the afternoon. That is 10th house. So if you look at the chart of 1 p.m., 12:30 p.m., you will always see that sun is into the 10th house. Okay, and if you look at the night time, like 10:30, 11:30, you will see that sun is into the fourth house. But we don't see sun, right? Fourth house is a netter where we stand on. That is, like if you're standing on the ground, and if you look just down from your feet, that is netter. And right above your head is not north, it is zenith. And that is the reason fourth house is considered as the foundation, the emotional foundation, and it is the night time. If you just observe the sun placement and the movement of sun, you will know a lot about houses. Sun is into the fourth house in 10:40, like at 10 p.m., 10:30, 11:30, where that's why it loses strength into the fourth house and gets strength into the 10th house. Okay, now the lord of the seventh house, the lord of the relationship, the lord of the business, the lord of the other person in your life is going into the fourth house of your foundation, fourth house of your happiness, fourth house of the uh, all the emotional clarities and a support system. Okay, that's why you get support from your partner. So enjoy it. Now, seventh lord into the fifth house. Now, this is a very particular combination. I have discussed this combination into my love marriage video. Okay, love marriage. We always talk about the love marriage. Fifth house is the house of love, romance, your heart space. Okay, the Leo side, the heart space. So your romantic relationships can be seen with the fifth house, and seventh house is the house of actual marriage. Okay, the legal long-term relationship can be seen with the seventh house. Okay, and fifth house is love. So when the lord of the relationship goes into the fifth house of love and romance, so what it shows is it shows you will have a loving relationship. And if you see what is the fifth house is also the 11th house from the seventh house. And what do you get from the marriage? What are the gains of the marriage? Children, right? So the fifth house is also about the children, the gains from the marriage, love and romance, children, all these things can be seen with the fifth house. And when you have the seventh lord into the fifth house, it shows you will have loving relationship, a romantic relationship, where a passionate relationship. Seventh house is also about the uh, physical relationships, right? Like the sexual relationships can be seen with the seventh house. Now it is going into the romantic relationships. So these relationships, these bring in passionate relationship. Next is seventh lord into the sixth house. Okay, the lord of the relationship is going into the sixth house of the delays, dates, and all that stuff we discussed yesterday in the sixth house through sixth house, sixth lord through houses. If you have not watched that video, go and watch that video as well, where we have discussed about the sixth lord through houses. And if you guys are getting value from this video, please hit the like button. Next is seventh lord into the. Have we completed the seventh lord into the sixth house? Okay, when you have seventh lord into the sixth house, the lord of the relationship is coming into the house of arguments. Swapnil Deshmukh. No, no. Karina. Shweta Judeja. Yes. Thanks for the confirmation. So seventh lord into the sixth house shows that the lord of the relationship is going into the house of arguments. Now this can bring in argument in the relationship. Sixth house is also about the delays, so it can also delay the relationship. It can also Sixth house is also the house of divorce, so you also have to look for the other indications of the separation as well. And even if you have this, don't jump to the conclusion that, oh, I have this challenging placement, so I'm going to get divorced. No. And I believe that sometimes divorce is also a good thing to happen, rather than just being in an abusive relationship or any bad relationship. I feel sometimes divorce is a better option for that person. Those who suffer only know about this. We on the from outside cannot just comment on it. It will be insensitive to comment on this. But what I feel is when you have the seventh lord into the sixth house, it can bring all these things. But suppose you have seventh lord into the sixth house. Let's go to your moon side. Make moon as an ascendant and see if you have the same pattern in the moon. whether you have, just go to your moon chart or just right click there and rotate your chart to the moon and see the seventh lord where it is placed. If it is placed in a good sign, so again, this has been altered, this has been changed from the what we have seen in the lagna, the pattern. Then go to the Venus, make Venus as ascendant. Wherever you have Venus placed in, suppose you have Venus debilitated into the sign of Virgo, make Virgo as an ascendant. Okay, look for the Nichabanga, look for the seventh lord. So what you have to do, seventh lord from the Lagna, seventh lord from the moon, seventh lord from the Karaka Venus. You have to note down these 3 points, write them down, and see what's happening with these planets before you even jump to the conclusion. Okay, and then, as I always emphasize on, the timing of anything depend upon the dasha. Let's say you have the timing for the separation in your chart or the potential for the separation in your chart, but you don't have the dashas of the planet involved into it. So you may not have that, or you have a dasha of the sixth lord, seventh lord, or any of those planets involved when you're 5 years old. You're not even married. It won't affect you, right? So dasha plays an important role when it comes to when. So the yogas will give you the potential, the static potential of the relationship, and the dasha will give you the dynamic potential when it is going to happen. I have I have the potential for great relationship, but what when it is coming, when it is going to happen, where is my darakaraka, where is my darakaraka placed in which nakshatra it is placed in, what's happening with the lord of the darakaraka. Okay, the nakshatra of darakaraka is important as well. So don't just jump to the conclusion, oh, I have seventh lord into the sixth house, so my relationships are going to be worst. But have this in mind that you have this combination. And as I just told you, note down those combinations from moon, lagna, and the karaka Venus. That will give you, even during the readings, I do the same thing. I just note down these three, then I check the dara karaka, then I look for the chara dasha, and I look for all those vimshottari mahadasha, and see what's happening. So Lord houses and the karakas plays important. This video, don't forget to hit like button. Okay, guys. So if you're getting value from, don't forget to hit. So I'm repeating. Next is seventh lord into the seventh house. Wow, amazing, right? You feel that this is the best position to have. Yes, you're right. Let's assume you have Venus into the seventh house. You have Saturn into the seventh house, into the sign of Aquarius, right? You will have so many. Uh, each planet will bring in his element into the relationship. Let's say you have Saturn into the seventh house, its own sign will be altogether different as against you having Mars into the seventh house in its own sign. Okay, Saturn will bring the responsibility, that maturity, that old and wise approach towards relationship, even the partner who will be with them for longer duration. They will be committed. They will be, they will not shy away from the responsibilities. Okay. But on the other hand, seventh lord into the seventh house, you brings in all that is good for the seventh house, because now it is into the own house. That's why we are discussing about the different planets. Seventh lord, seventh house, Mars. Now it can also make you mangli, and it can make a person being aggressive into the relationship. Saturn is more about the wiseness, and Mars is about the rashness, right? So now we are having seventh lord into the seventh house, but for different elements, different essence, different flavors of the planet. Moon is into the seventh house in the Cancer for the Capricorn ascendant. Again, Moon is a loving energy, so it feels at home in the seventh house. Sun in the seventh house. Sun is losing strength here. Why? Because in a natural horoscope, seventh house is Libra, where Sun gets debilitated. So Sun doesn't like to be into the seventh house. So that's how things change. So all the seventh lord into the seventh house are not same. Let's say you have Mercury in the seventh house. Now Mercury is young energy. Mercury is young energy, and now that young energy is in its own sign and in the house of relationship. So this person, the seventh lord into the seventh house, Mercury, will be a person with a good intention, but with a business mind, because it is Mercury. Okay, and if it is Gemini, it will make that person youthful and connect with the other people, connect with the partner through the communication. This will be a loving relationship. Okay. Next, did I miss any planet? I covered Saturn, Mars, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and we forget about Jupiter. Oh, yes. When you have Jupiter into the seventh house, so when it is Jupiter, you're either Gemini ascendant or you are Virgo ascendant. If you are Gemini ascendant, you have the Sagittarius Jupiter into the ninth house. What it shows is, it shows you will have a culture, you will have cultural, I'm sorry, it shows you will have a cultured partner who is orthodox and who, you know, but this orthodox is not like a Saturn or Ketu. He is more about the morals and ethics. He will be conservative, and he might be from a business family, because seventh house is also about the business. Ninth, the Jupiter is about the finances, expansion, goodness, positivity, all that stuff. Okay, now I think we have covered all the planets. Let's move on to the seventh lord into the eighth house. Seventh lord into the eighth house. Now, eighth house is the house of occult, mysticism, and more than that, it is also the house of ups and downs, about the sexuality, about the hidden things, about the dhanasthan of your partner. First lord, first ascendant is yourself, second lord is your dhanasthan, and second to the seventh, dhanasthan of your partner. Now the lord of the relationship is going into the secret house. and it is giving power to this house. Both of these houses are connected with the relationship. Seventh house is also about the physical relationship. Eighth house is also about the sexual relationships. So this gives strength to the relationship. Okay, but at the same time, these people have an element of secrecy in their relationship. It's not always bad or unethical. Even if they are getting married to a person, nobody will know whom they are getting married during their courtship. Nobody will know who they are dating. Okay, that's how they are secretive about their partner. And when it is the seventh lord into the eighth house, it also shows that the person will have joint asset with their partner, because seventh house, the eighth house is also the house of your in-laws. Why in-laws? Because again, seventh house is your partner, eighth house is family of your partner. So your in-laws can be seen with the eighth house. Okay. Next, the seventh lord into the ninth house. This is one of the great positions for the seventh lord. Okay. Why this is great position? Because see, ninth house is the house of higher belief. Seventh and ninth house is the house of moral, virtues, religious approach, spirituality. Spirituality is more of the 12th house, but it has that essence of the religion and spirituality to the ninth house. Ninth house is also about your parents as a collective parent, mother and father collectively can be seen with the ninth house. Ninth house is also the house of your higher beliefs. Because if you look at this, the seventh lord, the ninth house is the house just after the house of death. Why there are so many houses after the house of death? Eighth house is the house of death, and right after the house of death, we have bhagya, then we have karma, then we have lava, and then we have the moksha house. So the death is not the end. Right now, we are talking about seventh lord in the ninth house. Ninth house is the last fiery sign. Beyond this, there is no fiery sign. Beyond the Sagittarius, there is no fiery sign. There is earth element Capricorn, air element Aquarius, and water element Pisces, but no fire. So, fire is about the creativity and creation. Now, the seventh lord into the ninth house. It shows that this person have ethical relationships. These people have high morals. These people are loyal. These people are honest in their relationship. Because ninth house is then there also can be a involvement of some spiritual element. Okay, some religious element to their relationship. Like they always have to follow certain religious practice at home, something like that. And ninth house is also the house of parents, so parent might be, religious people who are following certain religious practice which we have to follow. But seventh lord into the ninth house is a good position for the seventh lord to have. Next is seventh lord into the 10th house. Now I think this is one of the challenging position for the seventh lord. Why? In fact, it's the fourth from the seventh, which is about happiness, but it makes these people difficult to cooperate, difficult to cooperate in the married life is the key to their relationship. They have to sustain and cooperate in order to, you know, uh, have a beautiful relationship or have a beautiful marriage, to have a long lasting marriage, to have that um, good relationships. But yes, they have to work in their relationship. Next is seventh lord into the 11th house. 11th house is the house of network, and seventh house is the house of networking and larger organizations and the way we connect with society as a whole. Now, again, the seventh house and the 11th house are both Kama Trikona houses. These are the social houses. So, the seventh lord into the 11th house makes this person connect with people and have beautiful relationship. These people will always have someone to help them all the time, and because they have built this relationship. Okay, guys, if you're getting value from these videos, don't forget to hit the like button. Okay, so when you have the seventh lord into the 11th house, this makes these people connect with the larger organizations for their highest good and greatest growth. And their partner might also be someone related with certain organizations, some humanitarian organizations, because in natural horoscope it is Aquarius, which is all about the Saturn's air element. Okay, next is the seventh lord into the 12th house. The seventh lord into the 12th house is 6 places away from the seventh house. So the planet of relationship, the lord of the relationship, is going into the house of loss and is 6 places away from it. So what it shows is these people tend to have a relationship which is more like which is more like giving. These people are always giving more into a relationship. These people always feel that they don't have that profitable relationship. Okay, just like the seventh lord into the 11th house, this is profitable relationship, and they don't do it selfishly. It is the nature of that placement, right? But the seventh lord into the 12th house makes it difficult for that other person to have the profitable relationship. Again, the seventh lord into the 12th house also makes these people to work towards their partner's health a lot. Why? Because it is 6 places away from the seventh house. So I have seen people with this placement working or serving their spouse and helping their spouse in some kind of a disease or some element in at least some part of their life. Okay, but seventh lord going into the 12th house is also good, because I have seen this, that people with the seventh lord into the 12th house, their spouse is responsible to build good habits in these people. Like if you have seventh lord into the 12th house, your spouse will be responsible for cultivating healthy habits in you. installing that healthy habits in you. Like earlier, you never used to get up early. As soon as you're married, your husband, your wife, your partner is just into workout all the time. So you just are getting up early and started walking, having that workout, and you started feeling better. That is how the seventh lord into the 12th house works. It is also one of the positions to cultivating these great habits. Now let us look at some of the questions you have. I think we have covered almost all the questions. The Ketu in the seventh house and seventh lord Venus sitting in the 12th house, along with the first lord Mars, Aries ascendant. I think we have just discussed this. Results when seventh lord is in the 10th house for Gemini ascendant. Yes. Who have asked that question? Dipanvita Rakshit. Dipanvita Rakshit ji, seventh lord into the 10th house will make you work on your relationship. It will make you work to cooperate. You have to cooperate in your married life. And once you do that, it is fourth from the seventh. So it is more about the happiness. Kamal Kundu, my seventh and 12th lord Mars, but Mars is deposited in the first house ascendant. So what kind of result? I'm not able to visualize this. Jai Shri Das ji, namaste, namaste. Yogesh Cooper, Jupiter retrograde seventh lord in the seventh house. We discussed that. Manaswini Sridharan, seventh lord in the sixth house in Cancer. Yes, we have discussed that as well. Do you have any specific question apart from the seventh lord in through houses regarding the seventh lord? You can share that because I'm watching these and we have already covered almost all the questions. Seven, Rosalie Caranto, seventh lord Mars in the third house with Moon aspected by Saturn. Seventh lord Mars in the third house, Cancer with Moon. Yes. So when seventh lord into the seventh lord into the third house, it is about being invested and being vocal about what you feel. I missed it. Shivananda K. First house lord in the fifth house. Guys, if you're getting value from this video, don't forget to hit like button. Mr. S. Effects of seventh lord Venus in Taurus. Dasha effect. Dasha effect is very difficult to calculate in this video. We are going to start a brand new series on Dasha where we will dive deep into Dasha. Jyoti Vallapu, seventh lord Jupiter placed in the second. Yes, we discussed that. Bhavani Prasad ji, Gemini ascendant, seventh lord Jupiter conjunct Mars in the fourth. Yes, yesterday also you asked the same question. I think we discussed that yesterday. The seventh lord in the fourth house makes you a happy person with the relationship. It gives foundation to your relationship. Shweta Jineja for Virgo ascendant, seventh lord Jupiter Seventh Lord Jupiter in Cancer, conjunct Sun in Rashi chart. But Jupiter shows 12th house in Bhava chart. What does this mean? Thank you in advance. Shweta ji, Bhavachalit chart is the final of your Bhava. Like if you have certain planets in certain houses in Rashi chart and it is showing in some other houses in Bhavachalit chart, consider the Bhavas in the Bhavachalit chart. In your case, Jupiter, I'm looking at the chat. That's why I'm not looking in the camera. So just be with me. So you have Jupiter shown in the 12th house in Bhavachalit chart. So you have Jupiter in the 12th Bhava in your, okay? But the Rashi will be from the Rashi chart. Always. Let me check what is your Rashi. 7th Lord Jupiter in Cancer. So now you have Jupiter into the sign of Cancer in Bhavachalit, right? But the Rashi of the D1, that is Cancer, and take the Bhava of the Bhavachalit chart. So you have Jupiter into the sign of Cancer in the 12th house. Okay. And when we talk about this Bhavachalit and the degree of the ascendant is far more important. Okay. I have made a separate video on Bhavachalit chart. You can go and check on our channel. Shweta Judeja ji. Okay. SF Simin, my seventh lord Saturn into the. Okay. Okay. I missed that. Just a second. Now, Swapnil Deshmukh, seventh lord Saturn conjunct with Venus in the sixth house. Love marriage for Leo and I think we have made a separate video on love marriage. You can go and watch that. It is all about the connection between the fifth lord and the seventh lord. Just check for your ascendant and you will know. Akanksha Puri, seventh lord Mars with Rahu in 12th, Saturn in 7th. Mars also the Atmakaraka. Akanksha ji, more than Atmakaraka, we are more concerned about the Dharakaraka when we are judging the relationships. Kim Tai Heiser, moon in the seventh house in Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Nakshatras we have not even touched today. We'll make a separate series on nakshatras. I think we have made couple of videos on nakshatra. I think two videos on nakshatra. We have to catch up on nakshatras, I think. Singha T, seventh lord. Then we have Giridesh Sekar, seventh lord Jupiter Vargottama in 12th house. This is interesting. By aspected by Saturn and Mars for Virgo ascendant. Yes. Seventh lord Asawari Gilji, seventh lord in 12th house. What it would mean? I will marry someone from foreign, or does it mean I will go? No, it doesn't mean exactly this, but it yes, it does show the foreign element in your relationship. But again, as I said, you have to see the pattern from the moon, from the lagna, from the karaka Venus, and see the involvement of the 12th lord, and see all this into the dasha as well. Chats are going too fast. I'm not able to read them. Okay, guys, let's keep it here. So, if you have got value from this video, don't forget to hit like button. And we have memberships open on our YouTube channel. So, if you want to support Pramanic Astrology financially, you can go and check the perks. I'll be making a separate live session for members only. So if you want to support the channel, you can go and join that. But the free content will keep coming as it is, sending you tons of positive energy, sending you high vibrations. See you in the next. Love and peace. Namaste.